Hey, it got cold out there. You out there heating up bricks? Only certain people gonna understand that joke.
Well, I'm just gonna laugh
Right.
because it seems funny. So.
Yeah, that's a continuation from last time
Mm.
Oh God.
when he was bending them corners.
Yeah.
Oh, when he had his suit and tie.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right, hold on. Live on the ground. Live.
I don't know about y'all, but I've been busy, crazy, and a lot of this shit ain't been making no money.
Dog.
Yeah.
This last like from after Labor Day to about the other day has been a blur.
Yeah, like I can say that was about the time. It's just been crazy, 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 crazy. And when I tell
Yeah.
you fraud is on the rise, whoo,
Oh
baby.
yeah.
Oh, I seen on
Yes,
the news.
fraud is on the rise.
I think they called him the king of fake D's or something. He got in
Who?
trouble for some dude. He was like tall, black dude, thin. I gotta find the article and send it to you. I was like, I bet Emma done seen this name.
Oh no,
Ooh,
I
send
haven't.
send me a copy of that article too, please. I want to
Send
see
me that
that. I want to
article.
see what he looked like, Asia.
It's probably somebody I know, and I ain't gonna be able to say shit.
I don't know, but I don't know why you can't say nothing. It was on the news.
I damn, I missed that. You know
This
what you
girl,
talking about, Reg?
this was a
Yeah,
couple weeks ago.
they had an attorney on there about 2 months ago that was doing deed fraud,
Now I remember that
with
one.
people still staying in their house.
I ain't
Like
That
seen
one
that
I
one.
remember.
you would just go deed your house to somebody. Damn.
And the crazy thing is, because you know, I got one that again two this week that we questioned, and they like, what you need that information for? I'm like, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we got two deals we put on hold because we got two fraudulent deeds, consecutive, and this not including that article that was circulating by Nadar. This is different.
Yep.
Maddie,
I'm like, what they
Raya,
do?
shut my door.
We just had a deed fraud deal that came. We listed. Lady called me to list her house. I had my agent go list it. We had it sold, pull title up. Then the original owner, the actual owner, came out and was like, "Yeah, them people went in there and stole our pipes and
Oh my
everything. Then
god.
do up a fake deed."
No.
Yeah.
But I tell people, like, don't just have a house and leave it vacant for a
Yeah.
year or two. I mean, that's like the worst thing you can do with real estate is let it sit vacant, not doing anything to it.
You're making it an eye for fraud.
Yeah,
Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh, I got two that's vacant, but I do got well, they had insurance, but I've been doing work little by little.
yeah, but you
Oh,
slow walking it. Like you probably talk to some neighbors. You probably over there every now and then. You probably go check on it. But it's people that
Yeah.
just got properties. They like, I ain't been over there in a year. I got to go look at it.
Is it still there?
Right.
Child. We just gotta between Emma and Marcus, y'all gotta help me out with Big Yellow because
What's up?
they gotta go. I talked about that off air. But they
Okay.
gotta go.
All right. Okay.
Gotta go.
Say less. We'll figure it out. We'll
And I'm
figure
making
it
a
out.
comment by bad
We
or
just picked up a new closer too. We got a guy. So
oh shoot.
yeah. Yeah, he
Congratulations.
was at the picnic. We got what you call Elijah's on
Yeah.
board. Yeah,
Yep.
he's actually he's working out. I like him a lot. Yeah. I like him a
Yep.
lot. He's working out.
That's good.
Bring people around, they get hired.
Not all of them, but you know, it depends on how many shots I done had.
Right.
Shot.
All right, I guess we get rolling and do these dang, we ain't got no church announcements. Church announcements. Anybody got an event coming up or anything
We
like
always
that?
have church. You know, we got tea and crumpets Sunday. The
What do
real
you
estate brunch, tea and crumpets Sunday. This
Oh,
Sunday.
your flyer. I've been posting it, but you know I ain't read it. I just seen it was from you and been posting it.
Yep. So, but actually, I believe I got to go and do a count tonight. I think we're all sold out because it's a small room, so I didn't want to overdo it. But I think I was probably halfway sold out 2 days into posting it. So
That's
it's
good.
about it's
Congratulations.
25 to 30 seats, and I promise you, if I got anything left, it's like two. And we're gonna do temperature checks and other stuff just because of the spike in COVID. But we're gonna be talking about Detroit Land Bank properties, Wayne County tax foreclosure properties. We got some special guests, which I'm not even telling y'all. You just got to show up. Talking about financials, how to get some financing for the rehabs. I got a little insight from the land bank on how to get around the reversionary interest. So we're gonna talk about all that and have some tea and crumpets this Sunday from 10 to 2.
Sound real bourgeois.
Yeah.
Tea and crumpet. I don't even know what a crumpet is. I gotta Google it. What is that? A fine pastry?
I Googled it too to make sure I spelled it correctly. Last thing I want is 2 T's and crumpet. But
what's a crumpet? Is it a fine pastry, donut?
Yeah, it's like a fine pastry. Yeah, with a little bougie sugar on it.
Yeah, we gonna be there. My wife just took some etiquette classes. Like a 3-month course. And I'm like, man, she probably gonna get on my nerves telling me how I'm holding my fork.
Yeah, I want to send my kids to that. That's a good thing. But so we got that coming up, and I was thinking about doing something else at the end of the month because I reserved a spot already. But I guess we'll collaborate and figure out how to make something work there. And then in November, it's gonna be all about real estate education. So anybody want to do a class or we want to powwow and figure some stuff out, let's do it. So that's all we have on this end.
Anybody else got an event coming up?
Emma be like Jeezy. She bring the whole city out.
That's a fact. I was like, Emma got us over here in the hood, dog. Like the hood.
I just do what I do. I got to bring you together some kind of way. You never know who might be in the room or who might need us or we might need and we don't know it because you got the east, the west, the north, the south. It's like, let's all get together. We're going to be on the number street.
What was that last place Emma had us at, Marcus? We pulled up like, what is going on?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
don't talk about that one on air. Some of them can't be talked about on air.
It don't matter. All of them be like, what the?
I be texting my sister like, hey, make sure you check my location periodically, okay?
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, that's all I have going on. What y'all
Red, you got anything, Marcus? Million?
Just got some houses and some deals. That's it. We got our show, and that's that podcast. We gotta get you on there.
Yeah, I'm coming. I gotta be home.
Yeah, I know. You be gone. Using them points.
Right.
Like, they done upgraded me to silver medallion, so this trip was a lot better, right? So I get to take 2 free bags now. I don't have to go stand in the helpline to check my bag. Now I can go over to Sky Priority. They're like, "Are you silver medallion?" I was like, "Yes, I am. Hello, good morning." I got bumped up to Delta Comfort. It would have been first class, but a diamond person bumped me out because silver is just like getting in there. Then it's gold, platinum, then diamond. I was like, I'm cool. I'm in there, so I'm straight.
Oh, wow. So but you need to, it's time for us to do another class and you kind of get us back on track with pledging our credit cards and all that again. Yeah. I think it's time. We haven't, it's been a year?
I'm going to talk to Reg because you be tripping.
For me?
Yeah. I'm going to tell Reg.
Oh, you mean Reg?
Yeah, your husband Reg.
Yeah, the other Reg.
The other Reg.
No, I mean, no matter where we do the class, I think it's time again. Because I had a client reach out to me talking about can they use their credit card to to purchase the real estate. And I'm like, no, I can't do it with the credit card, but you can use plastic, right? With a Q.
Yep, you use plastic.
I only knew what I knew. I'm like, you need to call Asia or watch one of the YouTube channels because it's all over there. And I sent them the link. But I think it's time for us to jump back on it because a lot of people still don't know.
Yeah, I'm down. We just got to talk about it. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about Detroit Real Estate Weekend for next year. That's going to be dope. So that's going to be a big event. I'm trying to have everything done so we can have it the link live like beginning of the year, January.
All right. So, yeah.
We talk about that, but ain't nobody else got no announcements. We have a few church what we call it, church rules, whatever, house rules. So if you have a question that's not a paragraph, like one question, like how do I blank? What is blank? How do I do this? One question, not no goddamn paragraph, no thesis statement, none of that. It's $5 minimum, right? The Cash App, the Instagrammers that's watching. You got to do what's it called, a bash now? I'm doing good with my bash. I had like $300 something.
What is a bash? We don't do the dollar sign anymore?
No, so a badge is like on Instagram. How you when you want, like I'm live right now on there. People can buy badges to support my channel.
Oh, well, I don't be on there enough to know about the badges yet.
I just got upgraded too, so don't feel bad.
You upgraded again?
No, they upgraded me. Like they
upgrade
offer it to
me.
you. They offered it to me, so I don't know. But yeah, so if you have a question, it's not a free question, depending on what it is, or you gonna have to book a consult with one of these amazing people here. So I guess that's it. We got a special guest though. Well, two special guests. We got Reggie P, who is a broker slash flipper slash out of the city of Detroit. And we got Minion, who is an awesome insurance. Are you an agent or just an insurance company owner? I don't know the proper term.
I'm a insurance agency owner.
Oh, correct me. Correct me.
Agency.
Okay?
That's all right. I'm an
Correct me.
agency owner. Yeah.
That's what's up. And we got Emma and Marcus as always. Marcus is a broker and property manager in Detroit, and Emma is the best title company in the state of Michigan.
I'll take that. Take that.
All right. Somebody said it's the Tea and Crumpet John virtual. You are from Philly talking about some John.
No, unfortunately, it's not virtual. It's all in person. Hopefully, our next one will be. If we get, which I know we're gonna have a good turnout, we may do it again. I'll try to do it again, or try to get the players and do something virtual. But a lot of what I do is in person, that old school hands-on way. But we'll see. Hit me up. We can try to put something together for you.
Nothing wrong with it. All right. The topic today is insuring your property. Really in Detroit, because most of us invest in Detroit, but just insurance in just general. That's why we have Minion on here, the insurance owner, not agent. So, all right, what was you about to say, Minion? For I'm like, hold on, we gotta say that for live.
Well, one of the things that we're looking at in the city of Detroit is that underwriting requirements have become more stringent. I'm sorry, Marcus.
Mania, can you start off by introducing yourself, please?
Thanks,
I'm so sorry,
I
Marcus. I thought I was introduced.
I wanted to do that. But
Yeah, I gave a little quick one, but you can get your whole bio,
Yeah, we need some info on you later.
Okay, so let me explain. My name is Minya Irby. Marcus having lunch. Marcus, you sharing? You not sharing today, Marcus?
That's why you got his camera off. He's stuck in his face.
Camera on. I can tell.
Yeah, I'm eating right now.
We're gonna mute you there.
All right, man, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Minya Irby. I'm the principal agent or the agency owner of Cooper Irby Brewster Professional Services, and we are a commercial insurance agency here in the city of Detroit. I want to say I'm one of the few Black women-owned commercial insurance agencies here in the city, and so I strive to work with small business owners and real estate investors to help them insure their investments. Right? You spend a lot of time investing in your dreams, but you need to be able to protect those dreams from exposures, things like fires and floods and someone driving through your property, for an example. But
say it lightly.
That's why I'm here. Yes, I have to say it lightly. This is Detroit, but that's why I'm here to help and here to assist, making sure that everybody understands what's insurable and what's not insurable. And most importantly, really just helping you protect your risk. Okay. And so, was that a good enough introduction, Marcus?
It's perfect. He's muted. It was perfect.
Okay, quiet now. Okay, thank you. So, in the city of Detroit right now, we're looking at increasing premium for commercial property. Things that were probably $2,000-$3,000 is more in the $4,000 or $5,000 range right now. Underwriting is becoming a little more stringent. There are underwriters that do not want to write vacant commercial properties, especially I think in light of everything that has happened with 2020 and COVID, or at least that's the explanation that I get from underwriters. So what do you have that you need to ensure? Well, one, you need to make sure that the structure is in place, right? So a lot of my declines for real estate in the city of Detroit occur besides zip code, it's for major structural issues, right? The porch caving in, the bricks falling off the column on the side. Um, it's not boarded up. What else? Oh, I had a policy get declined because there was an upstairs porch and the doorway was there. The doorway was in place, but there was no uh, perimeter around it. So there was no upstairs porch and structure to protect. And the insurance company, upon seeing the exterior of the property, wanted to make sure that the door on the inside was inaccessible, right? But the investor hadn't gotten that far in the project. He hadn't done it, and it was it was something that resulted in a decline.
Yeah,
So,
because if you somebody like me that's gonna open the door and walk right on out.
right, right. But now you got paid, and it's a problem, right? So, um, when you want to insure your properties, you want to look and make sure that there are no major structural issues. Repair those, and then insure it. Roofs are another thing that get declined. It's kind of hard to insure a property that's got a gaping hole in the roof. Okay. I understand you just bought it from the land bank and you are trying to get financing on it, but the insurance company it's uninsurable at that point, right? And there's no way for you to secure it to prevent further risk from occurring. So, um, what insurance companies like? They like rehabs, but they want minor construction rehabs. They don't want to insure full gut outs anymore.
What?
And so as a result,
Wait,
I've really stopped taking rehab business.
can we pause for a minute? You
Yeah,
said
like
what?
that's weird. Why?
So why
Yeah,
the what, Asia?
The what was because like I'm surprised. She said they not doing insuring full gut out rehabs no more, which I'm kind of surprised. Like we putting it
Yeah.
back together 100% right to where you ain't gonna have no problems for X amount of years. So that's weird.
Well, that's
But
if I
it's
run
in
out of
the
money. If I run out of money during the project, then I'm gonna burn that motherfucker down. That's why.
Oh, okay.
bingo. What wait a minute, let me what he said. Wait, which way are we going? What he said,
That's
right? So um you'll find that sometimes in Detroit there are rehab projects that go on unfinished, right? They're insured and they're unfinished. And they, when they initially took the insurance out, they sent over to the insurance company a scope of work that was going to be done. And it's been 2 years and it's not completed, right? Not to mention the fact that nobody's checking on the property and it's just kind of sitting there. So, as Emma was kind of expressing earlier about how when we just leave our properties unattended and abandoned, we leave them subject to fraud, but we also leave them subject to theft and exposure, right? And that's a liability for the insurance company. So, yeah, they want to protect your risk, but not within negligence, right? Not a property that's been sitting there for a year and nobody's been over to check on it, and you don't know if the back door is in there, and now you want to file a claim because the furnace and the pipes are missing, right?
you didn't have it
So,
secured properly.
absolutely, absolutely. So, those are some things you want to take into consideration when you are insuring your property. If you are trying to insure a property in the city of Detroit and you want to spend under $100 a month, you can forget it. Like, really, you can forget it. You really want to start adjusting to, I would probably say anywhere from 130 a month and up for your properties, right? And the only reason why I say that is because I know I had a client that called me and he wanted to insure um invest a rental. And I delivered his quote back, and we were able to cover it. And his downside was that the premium was more than $100 a month, and he didn't budget for that, and he didn't want to spend that. And that's fine. If you didn't budget for it, you don't want to spend it. But to assume that you'll be able to insure your non-owner occupied investment property within the border of the city of Detroit for less than $100 a month is unrealistic.
So if I'm
It
doing
is
my
very
math
unrealistic.
correctly, that's roughly $1,500 a year, if I'm doing the math correct.
Yes.
And
Yes. Matter of fact, that's low end.
That's so what
that ain't bad.
What insurance? I mean, what coverage? I'm assuming that's limited insurance or the basic. But what would one get with what you just quoted at that $130 or whatever a month? You said that was a non-owner occupied rental investment at $130 a month. What type of coverage is he getting?
Yeah. So you're probably, first and foremost, we're probably talking about a structure that's less than 1,600 square feet.
Okay, so square
Okay.
footage.
So let's start there. Square footage is important because really the insurance valuation for investment properties on an actual cash value basis should be somewhere between $40 and $60 per square foot. Right? So you're at that type of coverage, we're basically talking about an actual cash value policy, which means that whatever the limit is minus depreciation, minus your deductible, minus your co-insurance, that's what your payout is. That's an actual cash value policy. You're probably looking at an 80% co-insurance. So that means the insurance company is only going to pay up to 80% of the loss. You are responsible for the other 20% with maybe $1,000 deductible.
Let me ask you this too: if I have a claim, are they still separating the land from the actual structure?
You know what, Marcus? I'm gonna be honest with you. I have had one claim that wasn't on a full commercial structure, right? One that was on a residential, and it was a theft claim. So I haven't had a fire claim, but I'm going to say that I can't answer that. I'm not an adjuster. I don't really work the claim side.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What do I do if I'm in the middle of a rehab and I'm afraid that somebody burning my stuff down in the middle of this rehab? Like, what do you recommend, or can you recommend I can do?
I mean, to be honest with you, you don't want to first and foremost, before you start your rehab, find out if you can get this insured.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
That's good.
Because if you can't get it insured, if you got it for $1,000 from the land bank and you know doggone well that the porch is falling apart, the bricks is falling off the side, you know, the gables and the soffits have holes in them, you gotta get those structures to basically the code before you can insure the rest of the things that will go into a property. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I have insured properties that were down to the studs, right? I
But
have
it probably
done
had to have
builders
a
risk.
good, or a great exterior appeal for them not to want to come in, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right. So to insure before you start the project, because once you've already started your rehab and you kind of sitting there thinking like, I want to insure this property, it's already too late. You need to insure from closing. When you sit down with Emma, you should already have your insurance in place.
You'll be surprised how many folks don't. It's so
Yeah,
amazing.
but that's really where you want to be, right?
Church finger question. So
was that the church finger?
Yep.
what about when you're going to insure your property, but you have tenants that live within the vicinity of the property who are non-paying tenants? i.e., squatters.
Don't tell the insurance company that. Do not tell the insurance company that.
No,
Do
that's not
not tell the
the
insurance company that.
I don't have to tell them that. If they go buy the said property, it's kind of obvious. It's extremely obvious.
Okay, so check this out. So what'll happen is that there are some insurance companies that upon issue they'll do a property inspection, which means that they'll send an inspector out to the property to look at the property and make sure that it's insurable. If they have a situation where like they can't get inside or the tenant won't let them inside, they'll try to reach out again and they'll try to go through the owner. If the owner let it be known that they can't get into the property or they're dealing with squatters, the insurance company is not going to insure them.
Okay, I'm not talking about a tenant living in my house that's squatting in the neighborhood.
Oh, you mean it's just being a sore eye or giving the
Yeah, the house on the block. Like mine is vacant. It was boarded up a week ago. The other day I go by there and now it's not boarded up. So I'm like, okay, this what we own.
So why do you think the insurance company would have a concern with the house 2-3 doors down with squatters if that's not the house they're insuring?
Because they probably.
Oh no! I don't know that the insurance company would have an issue. I misunderstood Asia's question.
My
right?
bad. Yeah, that's what I'm like.
No, I did too. I did too.
Yeah. My assumption was that Asia had a tenant in there who was squatting.
No.
And the reason why I made that assumption from the question is that there are situations in Detroit where people have bought houses from the land bank and they already had people living in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, those are technically squatter situations. But no, I don't know that there has been an instance, like I've never gotten that back as a reason why the insurance company declined coverages because 3 doors down the house was being squatted in. But I have had properties come back for poor crime index, right? So
what, zip code or something?
Not even just zip codes, right? So like apartment buildings are ones that I found out that if there have been a lot, the insurance company is able to find out if there have been a lot of calls to a particular address. And I don't know, I guess it's through LexisNexis. I don't know how they do it, but they do. For instance, there's an apartment building off of Jefferson in 48214, right? So you guys know, if you guys are real estate investors, you know that area in 48214, near around about the McDonald's, you got some old apartments, some 6-plexes and some 8-plexes that are over there, right? And there was one that I was trying to insure, and we couldn't get it insured because of the crime score. And I had to make the argument that it couldn't be the crime score in that zip code because West Village is there, Indian Village is there, half of Island View is there. That's a lower crime area. And it wasn't that it was the zip code that was the problem. It was the address. Right? So, those are things that tend to pose problems as well.
That's good to know.
So what if the property has, like, you brought a property and next door on both sides you got 2 abandoned vacant houses that are not boarded and secured? How would that?
Which squatters?
That'll probably, now if the inspector comes out, that'll probably prove problematic.
Right.
Yeah, they might look at that as a hazard, right? Especially considering the proximity of the houses. So, there are some houses that are on the east side of Detroit where the entryway is through the alley and the houses are really, really close to each other, like downtown and Sheridan and, in those streets, right? If you're in between one of those houses and one of those abandons catches on fire, it's a real likelihood that your property is about to catch on fire, right? I mean, even if it's a really bad fire and there are driveways in between, there's still a likelihood that your property is going to catch on fire, right? So If you buying a property and it's in between two abandons, you're probably going to have a very difficult time getting that property insured. It's not completely uninsurable, but it will be a challenge.
What about builder's risk?
Builder's risk is really for renovations to properties that are not complete gut out. So you're redoing the kitchen, you're redoing the bathroom, you're doing new floors, maybe you're putting a new roof in, maybe you putting but not where you have to put the foundation in and you have to put the walls in. Um, that is something different. And we've insured them before through Diamond State, but they've become a little more challenging.
Yeah, because I normally get builder's risk on my flips, and like
Mm-hmm.
they be full gut out stuff, but they give it to me, I guess, because like I've done enough or something. Or I've always used that company because that same company gives me my
Mm-hmm.
my company insurance too. So I don't know if that's why.
Yeah, because I
Do
have
they send an inspector out?
Yeah, he came out twice.
Hey, okay, good.
He went
Yeah.
in there
So,
before I was
like I
full
said,
gutted
there
and
have been some
everything.
builders risks that, yeah, there have been some builders risks that we've done, and then I want to say as of last year, I started getting emails back that they didn't, want to insure full gut outs. But builder's risk is the coverage that you want to add on when you're doing any type of construction work to your policy. I
Now,
mean, to your property.
after you answer Reg's question, I have a question about explaining to those of us that don't know builder's risk. I mean, you guys are
Hmm.
throwing words around loosely that some of us just don't
Hmm.
know. But I think Reg had a question.
Okay.
well, actually, I think she
Go ahead,
might
Reg.
mention that she might actually cover it, but I have like Asia on my flips. I have insurance. The issue with the average person don't know. A lot of times those deductibles are extremely high. So
Yeah.
like I have a policy, my
Hmm.
deductible is like $5,000, and they're only going to
Hmm.
cover. They'll cover the acquisition price. They won't cover all the rehab
Hmm.
if it's not done. So, like, if
Mm-mm.
I have a claim and let's say I got 10,000 in renovations completed out of 30,000, I have to show them proof that I did the 10,000, right?
Hmm.
So they'll cover the acquisition
Hmm.
plus the 10,000. So it's still a
Hmm.
lot of risk there, but at least you have some coverage. You're not going to lose everything if you have a fire.
Yeah.
But the average
Yeah.
person buying and flipping, they just have to understand that they're probably not going to be able to go to on a vacant property that needs
Hmm.
a renovation. They're not going to be able to get just your regular, I don't know, like State Farm or Allstate insurance on these properties.
No, no, not at all. And so builder's risk is a type of coverage that you can apply to your commercial insurance policy, your property policy, in which it will cover betterments and improvements, right? So you bought a property and like Reg, let's use Reg's example. So Reg bought a property and the property he purchased was $30,000 and he's gonna put $30,000 into it. Typically, what an insurance policy is going to cover is the completed value of that property, right? But on a builder's risk, it's going to cover the structure as is and any betterments or improvements that you make along the way. So how Reg was explaining about how, he indicated 30 and then they needed to see if he said he had done 10,000 in work and they wanted proof or what have you, right? So remember earlier when I started the conversation and I was explaining how my underwriters have indicated, some things that are problematic with builders risk policies. And it's the fact that there are some that start the projects and the projects never get complete, right? And so you have 10,000 on the building and then another 40 or 50,000 in betterments and improvements, and the house has been sitting for a year and you've done no work to it and now it's burnt to the frame and you trying to file a claim. And the insurance agency is the insurer is going to have an issue with that, because insurance is not designed for you to profit from it, but just for you to be made whole, which means that it covers your losses. So I hope I explained that clearly enough. And maybe if there are some things I wasn't clear on, ask me and maybe I can clarify them.
So now, where does I don't know, and maybe this is part of builder's risk, or maybe this is different. You have insured my home, and I'm working on it, and someone gets hurt. How?
Oh, listen. That is where your general liability kicks in. I'm glad you asked that, because we get
set up. So that's
yeah, that's perfect.
Listen,
that's perfect. That's a good setup, because you know what? I get a lot of real estate investors that'll say, "Well, I don't need liability. I just need fire coverage."
Yeah,
right. But it's the liability that's gonna pay when somebody trips at your property and gets hurt.
Not the fire.
Right. The property coverage is right, not the fire coverage. The fire coverage is what's called your hazards or your peril coverage. It's going to cover fire, windstorm, hail, civil commotions, riots, falling aircraft, land vehicles, snow, ice, all of that stuff, right? But your general liability is what will insure your slip, your fall, your third-party property damage, bodily injury. So you want to have that on there. And make sure you are not buying property coverages that don't come with general liability, because you're exposed.
So it kind of
now, if the person is working for you, that's right. But now, if you hire the person and the person is working from you, they are technically excluded, right? Because one, you should either have a workers' compensation policy for them for the job, or you should be collecting their own certificates of insurance as a contractor.
I want to say that goes back to when we talk about hiring contractors like Asia that got all their paperwork in order. If you out here and you handymanning all your rehabs and you hiring Joe Smo, you putting yourself at risk, because they don't. Everything that happens to them on that property can fall back on you.
Well,
hire a licensed contractor. That's why you want. Listen, that's why it says licensed and insured for a reason. I'm paying you a premium price to fix my house, but also because you're insured, because you're removing a little bit of that liability. I know whoever you sub to and all of that, you got some of that covered. I don't want your clumsy handyman falling off a ladder on me or slipping on a paint can or something, and then they suing everybody.
Because they was high.
Right.
Marijuana is legal.
They all got to sign liability waivers. All my subs, I'm like, yep, sign right here. Thank you. When you get that
paperwork.
Yep.
Did we lose her? Damn, she was.
Yeah, I think we lost her.
Who, Mia?
Yeah, I think her connection might have.
Oh, I hope she come back.
She on that AOL dial-up.
You had to put the diss in.
Look, y'all, leave her alone. She came on. Was like, I'm gonna put it down. She coming back.
Hey, Reg, bottoms up, Reg.
Yeah.
So that ties in while we waiting on Menu to dial back in. Oh, there you go. There you go.
All right.
So I guess that ties in with you when you doing your thing, Asia, from a construction project standpoint. I'm assuming the homeowner has to have a certain type of policy. Then you come through with your policy with your folks.
The homeowner, it depends. Cause most houses I do is for investors, but I got my own insurance, so I'm covered anyway. But everybody signing liability, and if it's an investor that I know that's gonna be visiting the property, you signing one too, cause you ain't about to sue me.
But a liability waiver, or
a liability waiver, because then if they get hurt, they stepping somewhere they ain't supposed to, even though that's their property, they still might try to sue me. So
because they said it was they tripped on something that you had or whatever.
Yep, you should have been paying attention. Should have had your glasses on. You shouldn't have been over here. First of all, shouldn't have been here.
You had your Justin Lamons on with the dark shade.
Okay.
Hey, look, it's a reason they have signs to say no customers beyond this point, right?
Right.
you don't want anybody just walking around, only employees only and all of that. So it's the same with when you fixing a property, you doing a fix and flip.
Yep.
Okay. So you carry builder's risk, correct, Asia? You would have.
Yeah, so like my property, Big Orange, I got builder's risk on that property itself until I'm done with the rehab. But
Yeah,
the company
right.
got general liability $1 million coverage.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. How they all tie in together.
Yep.
Okay.
So what an owner would do, all right, Emma, let's say this your project I'm working on, you will have me add you on as additional insured. So like all my subs got me on their insurance as additional insured. So I get the certificate every year that they company just send me in the mail.
Okay.
And if they don't have insurance, please fill out this liability waiver.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So with all that being said, and hopefully Minya can come back. There she goes. Oh.
Yeah, it's the
Hey
same.
guys.
With
It's the
all that
same
being
here. It's the same on the property management side too. We're added as additional insured on the policy, and then we can also add the owners as a certificate holder for the business liability insurance.
now,
Yeah.
from a property management standpoint, why are you? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm asking because I want to understand the audience. Why are you guys at it? Because you got to send people in there to do work, or
Send people to do work, and also we're like a contractor of the owner. Well, we are a contractor of the owner, so they would insure us for anybody that we put on the property as well. If I said that right.
okay.
Here's
So
the
how do you send it out?
Hold up, Marcus, is you on AOL dial up? Because somebody is scratchy.
It's not, I don't know.
hey, here's
Oh,
the
that was me. That's me on AOL dial up.
here's the
Y'all leave my
addition.
girl alone.
Here's the addition of what Marcus was saying, right? Because if a tenant get hurt on your property, let's say they living in a house, you hired a handyman to put the cabinets up, right? They put them old heavy dishes in there, and the cabinet fall. The tenant gonna call 1-800 something, and that attorney gonna sue everybody: the owner, the contractor, and the property manager.
Yep. Same
So,
goes with front
so adding
stairs.
to that, it's a rental property. The owner should have the insurance. The property manager should be on there as an insured.
Additional insured.
And then the tenant, for any contents, any of their personal items, they should have a content.
A renter's insurance.
They should have their own right contents coverage.
I mean, if they
yes,
don't,
absolutely.
That's on them. But the biggest goal is for the owner to have coverage for the structural acts of God or general liability if it is, right?
Absolutely. So here's some things you want to take into consideration too.
Mia, is that your background with music?
Oh, it's mine.
I don't have any music.
They have flagged the video, so you gotta turn it off.
When you start doing music in the videos and stuff, what's happening?
That's Marcus on the rap video. I don't know what's going on.
We on our way out.
What's happening with me?
I don't know.
Somebody probably playing music in the back.
Yeah, because they have flagged.
It's my background that has the music.
Oh, because they have flagged the video and they'll take it down.
We on our way out. Well, let me just go ahead then. I'm gonna sign out there because we about to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, Marcus.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, me. My bad.
Yeah. So another thing landlords want to.
She's schooling on my end. I can't even see her.
You can't see me? Yep. So another thing landlords want to be mindful of, especially as we enter a season where it's real popular to have swimming pools and fire pits. Your policy. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm not muted, but okay. So now we're in
I'm not sure what's happening. But anyway, I guess I'll keep going. So to the audience, unlike what Minya's bringing to the table as far as we're talking about insurance, there's obviously that insurance that covers the structural dwelling of the house and the liability. Keep in mind that has no bearing on title insurance. And from a title insurance perspective, we're talking about ownership and liens and things, because I get, and I don't know about you guys, and Reg, you may get this when you're talking to your clients about, hey, you got to go and get your insurance, and they're like, well, I'm talking to the title company,
Right.
and or vice versa. I get it quite often where they're calling me talking about, oh, I just closed and I see cracks in the ceiling, or I got a leak in my basement, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not the insurance person for that part of the transaction. And it's, honestly, because it just wasn't explained to them. So,
Right.
I try to tell folks it's totally two separate type of insurances that we're talking about here when you're looking at it from that angle.
Right. I want to touch back too on when we was talking about the renters, the landlord and the property manager. So the reason it's important for your property manager to have certain insurance in place for their business is because what happened if a tenant get hurt, normally the property manager is hiring the contractors or the handyman, and the owner, the landlord, is just paying for the service. So if a tenant gets hurt, usually the landlord is going to say, I didn't know anything about it. I knew the work was done, but I didn't hire the person. I hired a property manager to handle everything, right? But now the owner is getting dragged into it because they own the property, right? So when landlords are hiring property managers that are not licensed and insured, then you expose yourself to more risk. Right. So that's why I tell a lot of times I just tell people, like, you definitely want to hire a property manager that's licensed and insured for that reason.
And guess what? It's the
Where does
same when you're
bonding
doing
come in at
rehabs.
with any of that? I mean, I hear people talk about bond. I don't know if that comes into play with the insurance or not, but I hear that thrown around loosely as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, bonding is for the person that's doing the work, right? So, can you guys hear me all right?
Is she on her cell phone?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear
cool.
you.
Okay, cool. So
I
bonding
can't hear her.
is
I
more
heard her,
for the
but she
person that's
dropped off
doing the
again.
work. Here's another thing you want to be mindful of while you're doing rehabs, right?
Gosh.
So let's say you are eligible to get a
It's saying
builder's
something
risk
about the
policy.
connection.
Oh, my connection. I'm going in and out.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if it's your headphones. That's why I had muted you for a second while you was talking, because it's like,
Yeah, I
you
don't.
can hear it. Like when you move, we can hear it.
Okay, hold on.
It's like an
Let's see
echo.
this. Let's try this. Let's turn these off and let's see if we can just.
Well, while we waiting on her to come back, we'll shift gears again. Let's talk about, and Reg, this is probably your area because I know you're heavy in the land contracts. We have, and obviously when I'm doing closings, there's only so much that I can explain or I can advise or I can suggest because of my role in the transaction. But probably 10 to 15 land contract deals a month. Only 5 or 6 of them come in with homeowners insurance.
Yeah, so most of the land contracts I do, I'm the seller. So I want to make sure the buyer has insurance the same way if they were getting a mortgage, because I'm protecting my interests. I brought this property for 40, I'm selling it for 60. They need to have coverage for 60, right? But my main concern is they need to have coverage for the balance that they owe me. So if something happens to the property, I can get paid off. Or if it's just a claim, like maybe it's a fire and it's going to get repaired, a lot of times the insurance company would cut a check to me or cut a check to me and the homeowner. So I require it because I'm the seller. But even for my clients, I don't let any of my sellers sell a house or close if the buyer hasn't gotten insurance on the land contract, because then you put everybody at risk.
Yeah.
And the ad. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that made perfect sense. Like,
and to add to that, people have to understand the seller, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the policy is for the buyer, but the seller is an insured party on that policy, correct?
Right. So if the example is, let's say you brought a house from somebody on land contract for $100,000, you got $100,000 in coverage. The house burns to the ground. There's a claim, and at that time you owe $60,000. Well, the only thing I could collect as the seller is my $60,000, right? That's my balance. or 2 years from now is 40,000. I only can collect the 40,000. So whoever sold the property on land contract, their interest is limited to the balance owed on the property. So it would
And
make.
that's done.
Oh, go ahead.
That's done through a
No, go
mortgagee
ahead.
clause on the land contract.
I can't hear
Right.
her.
So Emma sent me a
She
client
talking. I
this
can't
week.
hear her at all.
I can hear her. Y'all can't hear her?
I hear. I just hear feedback on her side, but I hear.
I
Yeah,
can
I
see
can
her now.
hear her.
Emma, go out and come back in.
Well, she's there now.
If you still got a problem, Emma, you might have to go out and come back in.
I gotta go out and
Okay.
come back in when I
I
ain't
mean,
the
your
one to dial up.
AOL dial-up is not cooperating today. So.
Yeah, you probably. I think she logged out. This is another thing too. I want to say while we waiting on her. A lot of buyers don't understand. I've had deals that didn't close. A buyer couldn't get insurance. This is a regular retail buyer. You know, buyer went and got a mortgage from ABC Mortgage Company. They need insurance at closing. They call around and get some quotes. And insurance company say, we can insure this property, but the premium is going to be extra high because the property had a fire claim on it 2 or 3 years ago, and nobody disclosed that to the buyer, and all of a sudden you got this high premium. And what the reason it don't close is because your mortgage was based on your taxes and insurance. You were approved based on a certain payment. So now that premium is an extra, I don't know, $80 a month. So now you no longer qualify for that loan and you can't close. So I tell people, even if you're buying a home, the minute you make that offer and your offer is accepted, call your insurance company and get a quote. Because if there was any fire claims or major claims against that property, it may affect your premium, even though you wasn't the owner at the time.
And I mean, and that makes sense. And I mean, you're on track. But wouldn't the lender? I mean, I know they say you got to have the insurance evidence of the insurance and pay receipt at closing, or we're gonna pay it. Wouldn't they want to kind of get an idea of what the premium is going to be in advance as well to make sure the ratios aren't blown out the water?
Well, usually your lender, a lot of times your lenders, they've seen enough policies where they can kind of estimate it. So like when a buyer goes in and say, okay, I'm looking at this property, here's the taxes. The lender may say, okay, we did 8 properties on that block in the same price range. You might have a premium that might equal to $90 a month, right? Mm-hmm. This is just your estimate. But it's on the buyer to actually call the insurance agent and get a quote. Okay. And when you call that insurance agent, they're going to pull that property and whatever they do on their back end for search results or investigation on that property. If they see it was a previous fire claim or the property is in a flood zone, now your insurance premium is out the roof. Right. And you may not qualify for that mortgage anymore because of the cost of the insurance.
Right. You back, Minya?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Can.
Everybody can hear me clearly now? We jump back in?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I know that we're going in and out and folks may have a lot of questions. And if I can just give them my email and people can kind of email me their questions, I'll be glad to answer them. For folks that maybe couldn't hear me clearly because I was going in and out.
Yeah, you can type it in the comments and then I'll leave it in the description.
All right. Got it.
Do we have any questions now?
Yeah, we got any questions? Anybody?
I got a question while we waiting.
Sure.
So how can you explain a little bit about flood insurance and how insurance companies determine the flood zone, flood areas?
I can. Matter of fact, I can tell you that because I grew up in Jefferson Chalmers, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, half of Jefferson Chalmers is a flood zone, but half of Jefferson Chalmers is not a flood zone.
Yep.
Right? And so where's the divider? The divider is around about Newport. So from Newport east to Alta Road, all the way down to the river, that area is a flood flood zone, and it is designated a flood zone by NFIP, right? If your area is not a nationally designated flood zone, you cannot get flood insurance. You can, however, purchase water and sewerage backup. And there's a difference, right? So, it's not just like, okay, well, like let's say you live in 48214, but you are on the other side of Charlevoix.
Okay.
That's not a flood zone, right? That's higher ground. So flood insurance wouldn't even be eligible for you. Makes sense?
Right.
But water and sewage backup is something that I recommend that everybody in the city of Detroit adds to their policy. Pay the difference in the premium to add that endorsement, because when your basement backs up, you're going to want to file a claim.
Yeah, especially with all the backups we had this year. It was like 4 sewer backups this summer.
Yes. And you know what? To be honest with you, there were so many claims filed this summer.
Yep.
Right? There were a lot of claims filed this summer for that very reason. So make sure you add water and sewage back up to your policy. Regardless. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if your furnace and if you have water and sewage backup, even if you have a $5,000 deductible, right? Because there is one company that they have a $5,000 deductible in Detroit on water and sewage backup. But you have a 2-family flat and there's a flood, and now you got to replace 2 furnaces and 2 hot water heaters.
Yep.
That $5,000 deductible looking pretty good right now.
Sure enough.
Not to mention clean out.
Yep.
Right? Drain snake out.
Mold removal.
Mold removal.
Sitting down there.
Yep. Absolutely. But now your policy will probably have a mold, fungus, bacteria exclusion. Most property policies have mold, fungus, bacteria exclusions. And virus exclusions.
Is that the fine print?
Yep.
Because that's what I was going to say. If this sewage back up and that drywall get wet, you got to gut mostly all of that.
Yep. Unless they did it right. So, like, some people, when they frame out basements, they use steel framing for that exact reason. So if it do get wet, steel ain't gonna rot like wood is. And then if they use the proper drywall. So technically in basements, you're supposed to use green board drywall, but people don't want to because it costs a little.
Say that again. What type of drywall?
You're supposed to use the green boards. But the proper term for green board is mold and water resistant. So when you go to Lowe's and Home Depot, that's what it's called. But you can't miss it. It's green drywall. So you use the green drywall for all wet spaces. So that's kitchens, bathrooms, basement. Now some people be cheap and only green board the kitchen wall, which is, I guess you could do that or whatever, especially if it's a window there, because that's technically the wet space. But I do the whole kitchen. Like I'm doing upstairs laundry on Big Orange, so the laundry room gonna get all green board because I'm doing laundry room there. Like I don't have to. I could technically just do the wall where the laundry at, the plumbing, but I'm just gonna do the whole thing and be done with it. But if you do the green board and you do steel framing in your basement flood, you typically okay. Especially with steel framing, because steel framing ain't gonna rot. Now that wood, you messed up.
Okay. Any other questions?
Let's see. Somebody L Townsend said, "What up? I'm coming to Detroit Monday, November 1st through the 6th to survey the land." Nah, me. You definitely from the East Coast. He want to meet up with you, Reg. So I guess put your contact information in the comments.
Yeah, he said word up, peace. Nah, I mean.
Yeah, that's why I said he's from the East Coast.
He got on the weak Timbs.
Okay.
He wearing the Timberlands when he comes.
He definitely got on weak Timbs and a triple fat goose. That's a fact.
Yeah, nah, I mean.
That's a fact. Nah, I mean. Ponce up. He said, "Oh, that's your information." He put your info. He said, "Cooper Irby Brewster Professional Services is an insurance agency serving Detroit and the greater metro, specializing in insurance." You better hype her up, Ponce. Real friends.
Right.
What up, though? Thanks for sharing. No problem. Oh, we do got a
Always,
question.
always.
What about insurance on land?
I don't insure land. I
Do you know
only
anything?
insure structures.
Do you know anything about it though? I
I
mean,
don't. I don't. And I,
I
I
don't know why
haven't
you
come
would
across
though.
it. But you know what? I'm sure that if I get a client and they tell me they want to insure some land, I will probably dig into it and get an answer for them. But currently, I don't.
what would it just be? A liability if someone fell
More than likely, because there's no structure there, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
you would get general liability in case somebody got injured or hurt on your property.
Yeah, I
But
guess it's on the sidewalk part in case they trip or something right there.
Well, the sidewalk is technically the city's
that's what I
responsibility,
was
I
gonna.
believe.
Hey,
That was gonna be my question. So, and I don't know how to ask this question, but so I got my house. You on my house? You trip and fall. But I'm saying no. You wasn't on my part of the house. You was on the city, the sidewalk, the city ownership part. Have you ever had an issue like that, or how do you classify? I guess from an
Um,
insurance
I mean,
perspective.
really, that would come down to your claims adjuster, right? So your claims adjuster would need to prove and investigate where that took place. And I'm gonna be honest with you, as a real estate investor, you need to have both an insurance agent and a public insurance adjuster on your team. Those are two people that you need.
You mean as an investor, period, or when I pick up? Because this is the first I'm hearing about the public insurance adjuster.
Okay, so as a real estate
Put us up
investor,
on gang. Put us up on gang.
right, as a real estate investor, you want to have a public adjuster on you. The same way you got Denson Construction on your team, you got Reg on your team, you got Emma Elder on your team, you got Marcus on your team. You need to have a public adjuster on your team. Your public adjuster is the person that's going to fight for your claims. I put the coverages in place, but I don't fight for the claims. The public adjuster is going to come out and do the investigation, and he's going to go back to the insurance company and say, no, 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 you really need to pay them X, Y, and Z for this damage. You need to really, remit these amount of costs for these losses. My job is just to make sure that the coverages are there and they're in place. Your public adjuster is the one that's going to get you the money.
So that's different than the adjuster that comes out for the insurance company. You need to have
Yes.
your.
Yes. You want one of your own. That's a public adjuster.
So would you just Google them?
Yeah.
I mean, you sound like I
Because
know.
the insurance
Yeah.
company,
Listen, there is professional public adjusters. Donald Tabron, Cully Robinson, black owned public adjuster company here in the city of Detroit.
I need you put that information in the comments.
Okay, so I'll load that in there. But yeah, you can Google public adjusters, but when the insurance company sends their adjuster out, that adjuster that the insurance company sends out works for the insurance company, which means that their job is to minimize your claim. Your public adjuster is there to, to
get you
boom, boom.
Yeah, right.
Yes, to grow your claim. So you need to have a public adjuster on your team.
because most if it's a case where there's an attorney involved, like if you're going after the insurance company for money, the attorney is going to hire a public adjuster to go out and research because the attorney don't know the value.
But check this out. You don't bypass the attorney, just call the public adjuster.
Right.
Because now you paying two. See, you gonna call the attorney. The attorney gonna call the public adjuster. Either way it go, the public adjuster is gonna get 10% of that claim. Plus, you still gotta pay attorney fees. Bypass the attorney and go straight to the public adjuster yourself.
Exactly.
Now I ain't know that. Learn something every day.
I know that. Yeah, we're gonna have to start collaborating more. Shit, y'all hear that, public adjuster? That's why I hang around you people. Y'all are shit. That's why I love getting together with you guys because it's knowledge like this. She just dropped the gem. Say it again. Public adjuster and drop the name.
Yes, professional public adjusters. Donald Tabron, Cully Robinson. They're in the real estate groups. If you, I want to say they're in the Detroit Black Real Estate Group. I want to say they're also they're in a couple of the Detroit real estate groups. Look them up on Facebook. Donald Tabron, DONALD Tabron.
She dropped the gem and then fell off.
Hey,
Oh,
that's major right there because like I've had clients that had that's how I met a public adjuster one time from a client that was like, oh, the insurance company don't want to give me this. I'm about to call a public adjuster. And they came out and fought for him. They got him like $10,000 extra on a claim. So and that's kind of small. They a lot of times you'll be surprised how much more they get you.
Oh wow, that's what's up.
mm-hmm. Are you back, Minion? You muted. We can't hear you.
Okay. So we talked about, I guess, the stuff that you covered on what to have in place or to kind of have in order when you're seeking your insurance policy. Is that for both residential and commercial, or is there
Yes.
more lenience when you're trying to get a policy for a commercial building, or maybe you're leasing some commercial space and you need a policy? Is it viewed differently?
Yes. When you're leasing a policy, I mean, you're leasing a commercial space. So you're a beautician, a barbershop, and you're leasing your space. You want a business owner's policy. That's a little different from a commercial package policy just because it doesn't insure the structure. It only insures your business personal property as well as your general liability.
Okay.
But when you own the building, you want a commercial package policy, which is complete with your structure coverage as well as your general liability and any additional endorsements that you may have.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
you sell renters insurance?
No,
You don't?
no. I don't do any personal lines at all.
So
Okay.
you're strictly the residential investment and the commercial.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Hmm. What other questions y'all have?
Let me look. Let me look. I was filling out this paper.
Or insight you can tell us, maybe something that we may have missed.
Well, I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything, and again, if folks have any questions, I sent my email address over to Asia, and you guys can email me and I will answer your insurance questions. If you would like to get insurance, send me an email and I'll send you a link. But mostly I'm available to answer those questions. So, hit me in my email and get in touch with me and ask away. Keep me sharp, keep me doing my research and on my toes. I greatly appreciate it. It just makes me a better insurance agent to help you. So ask away. My phone number is there at the bottom line. You can take my phone number, give me a call, and I hope I answered everything, everyone's questions. And
What's
I'll see you guys Sunday at brunch.
real quick though? What's your quote? What's your, like, if I hit you up? Because I think I sent a client over to you, and you got with her that morning. She hit me back that afternoon. It was on some commercial space. She hit me back that afternoon and was like, you was already working on it. So
Yeah,
generally, what's your your turn time on delivering a quote?
48 to 72 hours.
Okay.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. That's my best case scenario. So usually if it goes beyond that, then we've probably gotten a couple of declines already, and I'm in the process of shopping it with other brokers and
Underwriters.
insurers.
So about how many underwriters or insurers do you have that you're able to
For property coverage in the city of Detroit, I just have two brokers. Three brokers that place. Two of them place with Atlantic Casualty. One of them plays with Diamond State, and one of them places with Coventry. So I use about three different brokers. Two of the brokers that I use will require inspections. One of them will only need photos of the front and back. Um, and that's pretty much it. But overall, I work with about five different insurance brokers, insurance wholesale brokers.
and you cover everywhere. I mean, of course, we know Detroit, but just to be clear to the audience, you're Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb, or Livingston, everywhere, or
I am Upper and Lower Peninsula.
okay, okay, okay. Do you do farmland stuff too?
Yes, we do. And we do cannabis.
Oh, well,
Oh,
slide that on in there. Why don't you?
Yes, because we can insure your grows, we can insure your dispensaries, we can insure your processing. And so, yeah, We do cannabis too.
So you do cannabis, but you guys don't do land. Wow.
Yeah. Well, the land had to be cultivated. Can't just,
Okay.
Right. We can do farmland.
That's
yeah. We can do farmland.
Wow. Okay.
Because you're insuring the contents on the land in that case, right? So, like,
Basically,
if it's cannabis or farmland,
it's the crop, right?
Right.
Because the crop is what is technically what's your income. That's what you're at risk of losing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Someone had. What about mobile? Is it mobile homes or
Yes.
You insure them too?
Yes, we can insure mobile homes.
Now you're insuring because the home sits on the land that's owned by someone else. So you're insuring my little home that I can take and place somewhere else if I wanted to, right?
Yep, we sure can. And I see somebody has a question about an umbrella policy. Umbrella policies are great things because what umbrella policies do is they extend your limit of liability. So typically on general liability, you are insured for $1 million per occurrence and $2 million for the year, right? But let's say you had a situation where the loss that occurred was somewhere around $3 million. Well, if it was at $3 million, then you would have exhausted your policy without an umbrella policy, and you would be responsible for $2 million in coverage, right? Because you get $1 million per occurrence. Okay, so in this one occurrence, the damages or the loss came to $3 million. Your policy is going to pay up to $1 million because it's one occurrence.
Okay.
It's 2 for the year, but 1 each, right? So without having an umbrella policy in place, you would be responsible for the remaining $2 million in damages. And what that umbrella policy does is it's like a catch-all. So now what your policy doesn't cover falls into the umbrella policy, and the claim is honored there. So umbrella policies are wonderful to have, especially if you are an investor and you have multiple properties. You want to have multiple properties, preferably with the same insurer if you can. And then you want to add an umbrella policy around those policies to further insulate yourself. The standard amount to get is an additional $1 million to $2 million. You won't be able to go above an additional $2 million because that's $4 million in liability that's outstanding.
So an umbrella policy is just a policy that's covering all of the policies, or
yeah. I mean, imagine this is the way I view umbrella policies. Imagine an umbrella hanging upside down outside in the rain. What's it doing?
It's collecting water.
There we go. Imagine the water is your losses.
Oh, so it's just
yeah.
So it's an extra layer of coverage.
It's an extra layer of protection.
Now I got a question, Mia. I got a client who got like 50 properties between Detroit and Pontiac. So what he did was, instead of insuring each of them individually, he put them all under, I guess, an umbrella policy. I guess that's what that's called, maybe.
Well, he got to have a general liability and property coverage first before he can add the umbrella policy. But yes,
yeah, that's what he did. Okay, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna ask her because I never knew about that.
And yeah, and the other thing too is, sometimes people insure them differently under different names, but they're different properties under the different LLCs that their properties are in. But more than likely, like I have a client that has 5 properties here in the city of Detroit. Each property has its own LLC name, but his holding company is over all of the LLCs. We insure each one of those properties individually, and then we have an umbrella over all 5.
So do you even factor the holding company in there though?
Yes, that's an additional insured.
Okay, so the 5 plus the 6th one, which is the holding company. No?
The holding company is a named insured, right? It would be a second named insured on the policy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
Additional insured.
And see, so this, I want to point this out too. This is when you call the attorney, right? and you get, because a lot of investors, they'll get out here, they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go online and do my LLC and put this property in that one and this property in that one. But when you start factoring in, you trying to protect yourself from all the legal liability that you can come up with. You know what I'm saying? Because people will get too happy. So the insurance piece and the attorney, this is why we talk about building a team. You get the right contractor, do the work right, right? Then you get the proper insurance, you get the proper attorney. You have all of this so you can protect all your assets so that you can do what you need to do.
And don't forget the CPA. The
CPA.
And you know what, Reg? You mentioned something, and my phone cut out the last time I wanted to make this point. When you're working with a contractor, right? Mm-hmm. If you do not get a copy of your contractor certificate of insurance in the middle of your rehab on your builder's risk policy, right? So you bought the builder's risk policy, you did that right, check. You got a contractor doing the work, check. But you didn't get a copy of their certificate of insurance, and now there's a loss that takes place. The insurance company can deny your claim if you cannot prove that that contractor provided you with a certificate of insurance.
And obviously that insurance needs to predate and have been in place prior to that claim.
Absolutely.
Yep. And it might have to be in place so many days or months prior to the claim too.
Yeah.
You got a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Most land investors tell me not to get insurance on land I plan to flip. Is this good advice or not?
I mean, when you say flip, how long you plan to hold it? To be honest with you, I really don't want to insure anything that folks aren't holding under 3 months. Over, are holding for less than 3 months, right? Because one, I can't insure it for less than 3 months. That's the minimum amount of insurance that I can put on it. Two, we run into issues where people sell the house, they flip the house, it's only been a month, and folks want a refund, but commercial policies come with what's called a minimum earned. So that means that if the policy's been enforced, once the policy is bound, it's enforced, there's not going to be a refund.
Whether you had it 3 months or
doesn't make a difference. Right. So if you don't plan to hold it for at least 3 months, don't waste your money on insurance.
But you need the insurance to protect yourself.
If you don't plan to hold it for at least 3 months, do not insure it.
Well,
I said what I said.
On the flip, though, you as an investor, you really should be looking at insurance as just the cost of doing business. Because, like, if you buy a property and you flip it, you don't know how long you're going to hold it. So let's say you pay for a year's premium, right? You might be lucky and sell it in 2 to 3 months, or you might sell it in 6 months. But just pay your premium and just factor that in with your overall cost of your acquisition and everything. And then you don't have to worry about it. What she's saying is, don't call me back looking for this $400 because you want to prorate it because you sold the property in 3 months. That was just a year's premium. That was just the cost of doing business.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because also you got to look at, you can have it a month, and if you have theft or fire damage, exactly, and you don't have anything in place, I mean, you basically out. So it's all about, and the whole purpose of us doing this is to protect your investment. Right. So it's from a dollar standpoint of an investment, as well as how long you've owned it from an investment, which takes you back to a dollar standpoint of investment.
See, here's the benefit to insurance, and this is what people don't often understand, is that if your effective date is 10/15, that's today's date, right? If your effective date is 10/15 and that property caught on fire at 10/16 at midnight, they got to pay you. And all you've made is your deposit, right? They are obligated to pay you. So, as a way of protection, they don't, you won't get a refund in the first 3 months. You will not.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, with title insurance, we get them all day long where they pay for the policy and then they turn around and flip it the next day or the same day. Hey, you exchanged owners. It's a new owner now. It's a whole new policy. As Reg said, it's the cost of doing business. You factor that in.
Yep.
Yeah. And then with title insurance, it's a little different because you still got to protect any claims for the time that they had it. And then if they're insuring a new buyer, you got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to cover claims against that as well, right?
If it's on a warranty deed, it's an indemnity. You know, whether I'm the
Right.
title company with the flip or it's another one, if something comes back, that title company is going to go to that seller. That seller is going to come back to us and down the line. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it never stops. You know, once the policy is out there, it can become an ongoing thing because it's from indemnity, indemnity one to the next. It never stops. Yeah, that's the interesting part about what we do. But again, it's the cost of doing business with real estate if you're going to do it correctly.
Do it right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Any other questions?
Let me look.
We got this lady dropping gems and we don't have no questions. What?
Right. What are those two black the public adjusters' names again?
Yes, Donald K. Braun and Cully Robinson.
All right. So I'm just worried about a junkie falling on my land and suing me for $100K, but I agree.
That's why you want to have commercial general liability insurance, okay?
Yeah.
Why they gotta be a junkie?
And
yeah, I mean, why
want
gotta be a junkie though?
And you do want to talk to an attorney because if you're talking about a vacant lot with a sidewalk, just say, hey, because if they slip and fall on the sidewalk because maybe the sidewalk is cracked, that might be different than they slipped and fall because it was ice on it and you don't maintain the sidewalk, right? You don't shovel the snow, you didn't put ice down or anything like that. So that's why you need good legal counsel, because on a vacant lot, I'm probably not going to insure it, especially if I'm going to flip it. But if there's a sidewalk or some type of way where people are commuting back and forth across that property, I might want to rethink that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got a question on Instagram. Oh, she was just saying that her buildings were total guts and shit. Just Rachel, and that she insured them the whole way through. Yeah. And then I think
sometimes I can. I'm telling you, there have been some things that I was surprised that I got it insured.
What else do they look at? Do they look at the insurer's credit?
I think they look at your experience.
They looking at the risk.
Just the risk.
They looking at the risk. They looking at the crime score of the area. So 48238 is a zip code that's very hard for me to insure. There are some sections of 48219 that's very hard for me to insure. Right. So there are some areas of 48203 that are very hard to insure. Right. So they look at the risk.
Now, what about and you probably already said this, what about huge construction projects like
new development?
Yeah, new developments. Yeah.
You want new development, and there's a specific insurance for that.
But do you offer that?
I can. It falls up under my wheelhouse. I don't know that I have a broker that does it yet. I can find one if I have a client, but at the moment I haven't had a client that's doing new construction. But yes, new construction insurance is available and it is out there, and you do want to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
What about container homes? Are y'all insuring those?
What would you say?
Like new development as far as container homes?
I haven't had any experience with container homes, Asia, but more than likely if you convert like tiny houses.
No, not tiny houses, like straight up container homes. Like houses built out of containers. Like today,
I mean, if you can imagine the fact that the corner of Michigan and Trumbull, those apartments, all of those condos are made out of containers.
Yeah, I know. Them is modulars. So they built a concrete structure and then they just came back and slid them in and connected them.
And they were probably the same coverages for modulars and mobile homes would probably apply for containers.
Okay.
Going back to the crime rate or score or whatever for a building. So for any investors out there, you want to include that in your due diligence period. So like we often say, we want to have a private inspection, or we want to check with zoning or whatever for commercial and apartment buildings. You want to start adding in your contracts if you're not doing it already, especially apartment buildings. Do you currently have insurance on the building? You'll be surprised how many people don't have insurance because they got dropped by their insurance company. And you want to be able to have time negotiated in your contract to be able to shop and see if the property is insurable. Because if you're expected to close and you did all your inspections and everything, and you show up closing schedule for Monday, and you show up and then you try to back out of that deal because you can't get the property insured, your contract doesn't have that clause in there to allow you to back out.
But
So
you know what, Reginald, I want to ask this question for insurance for investors. Can you
right,
add that clause to your purchasing agreement
you
that
can.
I must be able to insure this property? The deal was,
That's
to protect yourself. And so maybe we want to have those conversations too, so we can tell people how to protect themselves on paper if they run into those situations. Because I don't really know how to check a crime score on a property prior to running it through underwriting.
But
exactly.
wouldn't that
So,
be part of their due diligence period? I mean,
well,
should
that's the thing. A lot of people don't know. That's why I brought it up, because
okay. So
you have a lot of residential investors that are stepping up and upgrading to the commercial or multifamily, and they're using the same mindset and strategies that they use on residential that they're doing, and it doesn't always work that way. So
mhm.
there's additional clauses and things that you have to add to your purchase agreement to make sure you're covered, and insurance should be one of them, right?
And one would think it's a red flag if the current owner does not currently have insurance.
Is
The question is, why not? And if they're
exactly.
saying they were dropped, why were you dropped? Because right there will give you an indicator that it might be an issue for you.
Oh, you know what? And that makes me think of a commercial building on Mac, right? It's a commercial, it's a multi-use, so it's got commercial storefront on
Be
the first
careful,
floor.
that's my listing. No, I'm just playing.
Ah, and it's got apartments upstairs. But here's the thing, right? What people don't know, that there was a fire in that building years ago, and the owner never ever corrected the fire codes. Like, he never did it. And every time someone moves in that building, they run into that problem. So I don't know if you can go down to BC, and find out if those buildings have any uncorrected fire hazards, or
Yeah, you can. So
Yep.
you can.
yeah.
So I tell people all the time, like, I don't think they do this, but when you buy a new property in the city or look at it, you can call right down there, get them the address, and they're gonna tell you right now if there's any outstanding permits on that property. Like, if it wasn't, then the stop door got pulled, or if any fire or anything like that, you can go find that out. It's free. But
Yeah,
how
I
people
mean,
gonna
I,
do
I
it, I don't
told
know.
I told a guy that today he's buying a commercial building with the city. And like I told him, I said, I can tell you what I see from public record, and obviously there's no order recorded saying that it's on the demolition list or anything. But one phone call, all you need to do is make one phone call to Building and Safety, and they'll tell you if it's on the demo list, if it's subject to demo, or if there's any open invoices or permit findings. I was like, it's just one phone call.
Yep.
And you're right. A lot of people, this is the stuff that they don't know. They assume it's factored in the title, and it's like, we can only see what's public record. We can't see stuff that's not recorded, and some things could be on its way to being recorded for demo, but it's not there yet. But that one phone call makes a difference in that due diligence as well, the same as that insurance. All of that is a part of doing your due diligence when you're about to make this investment.
Now, if you do call down there and your property is on the demo list, like, it's still not a bad thing. You just
Right.
have to get it off the demo list, which is a process. So how I found out about this is a lady, she bought a house from the land bank, closed and everything. I go pull my permit, and they like, oh, Ed, you can't pull a permit. This house on the demo list. I'm like, but she just bought it from the land bank, and they like, we don't talk to the land bank. I'm like,
Right.
shouldn't y'all be best friends? Because people buying houses and they shit about to get torn down. And I was like, so what's gonna happen? She was like, well, if you don't get it off, you could go there the next day and it's gone. And I was like, wow. So I had to tell the homeowner. She had to come down there with me. She had to get a notarized statement, letter showing that she purchased the deed and everything. I had to fill out a form agreeing that I'm the contractor that's gonna do the work, show my license, everything. So your uncle and them can't do this. And then she had to present it to whatever board at the building department. I think that took like another 60 days just to get it off. So that pushed. This was like back in 2017 or 18. So maybe it then got faster. And
It's
hopefully
faster
now, but that was crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's faster.
You can get your demolition deferred, right? So one of the things, so if you got a property that's on the demo list, or you purchased a property that's on the demo list, so they might work with you a little bit quicker if it was a land bank or a county sale, but there's a lot of private owners that got properties on the demo list. So what you do is you file, they have a deferment process.
Yep.
So, and you'll see it on title because it'll have a less pendants on it.
Yep.
In most cases. So what they really want is they want the taxes current. They want the property secured. So it have to be either boarded or locked and secured. So it's not open to, for somebody to just walk in and hurt themselves. They will require photos showing that you maintain the property. So it can't be overgrown grass or vegetation or anything like that. They have a whole checklist of things you can do to get the demolition deferred, but they won't remove the less pendants all the time. Sometimes they want you to bring it up to code first, right? So it kind of depends on the situation of the property. But if you can get the deferment a lot of times, or you can get that less pendants removed, you can move forward with clear title in most cases. But it depends on how things are worded. But your first priority is to stop them from tearing the house down.
Number one.
Which they kind of don't want to do because that's more money. They would rather spend it on some other homes that really need to be torn down. But you just have to step forward and go through with the process.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And keep in mind, if they do tear down, the demolition assessment fee is going on your tax roll.
Yeah.
So, and that could be a hefty fee. But I mean, I can just say from my experience about 2 weeks ago, one of my clients picked up one from the Wayne County auction. And, they have the disclaimer all on the site, check them all, blah, blah, blah. But folks don't do that. And he called me freaking out like, hey, my property on the demolition list, DTE just went by and marked it for disconnect. I don't even have my deed yet, So we was able to put him in touch with the supervisor over there, explain the situation. As Reggie said, boarded up, pictures, show no graffiti. I think he had to pay like $300-400, and they put him on the deferment plan. Yeah. And we are able to close like that. You're not getting clear title. We're not insuring over that. We're not giving you insurance over that, but we are acknowledging that now it's on the demo list, and you're acknowledging what you need to do to prevent it from being demolished. So you can proceed if you're selling or whatnot, but it is a process. But it can be done, and they do move a lot faster now. They're probably about 2 or 3 weeks with getting it done versus 60 days.
Yeah, that's good because one thing I do know, so like Big Red, I got an open permit on there that's been on there like 2 years, so that defers that too because I have an open permit. And then every couple months they'll call me like, all right, what you doing now? What's the progress? Blah blah blah. So I've noticed too, just pulling the permit that stop a lot of stuff too. So if it's on the demo list and then you go pull a builder permit, that's gonna flag it anyway, and then they're gonna be like, all right, something's going on, and then they're gonna be following up with you too.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of this stuff can be worked out, but again, as Reg pointed out, your due diligence isn't just saying, let me check title and verify ownership, or let me see the lease agreements and see who paying or who not paying. It's a much bigger checklist or longer checklist than just the little stuff that you guys look for. A whole due diligence is it insurable from an insurance standpoint? Is it on the demo list? Is title clear? And I'm sure there's other stuff that you guys can name that I don't even think about,
I got one, right? So for insurance, now we talking about all this deed fraud, right? So what if I brought a house on quitclaim deed, right? And I own it, or I think I own it, and I got insurance on it because it was a nice house. That's why I bought it. I'm living there. I come to you get insurance, but then all of a sudden I got to make a claim, and we find out I'm not the legal owner of the property.
Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh.
Juicy.
Let me sip
Yeah.
some tea on that one.
Yeah.
First,
Well, what'll happen is they'll have to check what's the insurable interest
Okay.
and who has the insurable interest, right? So, you want to make sure that you can prove and that's the best way I can put it to you. You want to make sure that you can prove your insurable interest in the property.
All right.
Okay, without
So if you
going
can't
further
prove
into
it,
that. If you can't prove that, then you can't insure it.
Right.
but what if you already gave me insurance?
I mean, okay, so you sent me an address and some information on a property that you have on a quick claim deed. That's what, is it registered? It's not
Yeah,
registered.
it's
It's
registered.
registered.
Okay, it's a registered quick claim deed, then you have an insurable interest.
Okay.
From an insurance company standpoint.
Yes, you have an insurable interest because not one time have I ever had to turn in a deed with underwriting.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do they verify?
Mm-mm.
So if
well,
somebody, wait a minute, hold up. I don't know if I should say this or not. So if somebody like those people that got scammed, they moved in the house, they brought the house, they got it insured, and something happened and they make a claim, the insurance company will honor that claim because the insurance company is recognizing them as the insured party, right? But not necessarily the owner.
Right. That's what it sounds like.
I'm saying I'm going to answer that yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to answer that yes. And the reason being is because those people that got caught up in that, they didn't know that they were the victims of fraud.
Right.
And they were paying the policy.
And they were paying the policy, right?
Okay.
The policy.
And if need be, they could produce what they thought was their deed.
Right. Now for the person that owns the property, let's say I own the property and I'm a little lazy because I didn't want to hire Asia to do the work right. I just want to go by and fix on it every now and then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else commit deed fraud or do a fraudulent deed, and somebody move in there, they get the property. Well, they call to get insurance, but you see that already got insurance on the property through another company. Are you able to see that on your end? Like, are you able to see that the property is already insured? Okay.
You say yeah?
Yes.
So if I own a property and I get insurance on it and somebody else call, that's kind of like protection, double protection, because if somebody else try to get insurance, then you'll be like, hey, this property is already insured by somebody.
Have you had that happen?
I've had it happen with a business, whereas we tried to, so let's say we'll use Denson Construction. So Denson Construction came to insure Denson Construction, and it's like April, and her policy doesn't actually expire until September. And Denson's like, I'm not paying that agent. I don't want to deal with that agent. I'm going to, go through you. The minute I sent that paperwork in, it'll come back to me that policy is already in force. I haven't had that happen on the property side, but I have had that happen on a business side. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I guess I can see her point with the residential side. It's just like if I go down there and pay the taxes and I'm not the owner, I mean, I did the owner a favor. I paid the taxes.
Right.
You know? It's unfortunate when people are a victim of fraud. I mean, it is so unfortunate, but that's the ramifications for it. Right. That was a good one, though. That was a real good one.
That was a real good one.
Because, I mean, we do get some calls sometime when folks are doing, like, if they had a fire damage and they're trying to get a payout on an insurance policy, we sometimes get calls saying, well, my insurance company said I'm not the owner on the, they don't see my name on the policy. They probably looking at the BSNA site or some shit instead of the,
Here's
the
a little
Wayne County
hiccup.
Register of Deeds.
Yep,
So
here's a hiccup we can run into is that the property is in one name and you put the insurance policy in another name. So the insurance policy is up under your LLC, but the property is in your dad's name.
Why doesn't the insurance company require evidence of a deed or something? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I'm not an underwriter.
That's yeah. I mean, I guess that's just like the register of deeds to record any damn thing as long as it meet the requirements.
I mean, they probably if it's public record, right? Because
maybe
the
they
insurance
have a
company
way
is
to
going
check.
to find everything that's public record.
Right.
Typically through LexisNexis, like that is one of the biggest platforms that insurance
they use,
underwriters use.
Okay.
So like you said, Emma, you can find everything that's public record. The underwriters can too.
So if the deed is recorded, it goes back to what we said. If the deed is recorded, it's not about questioning the validity of it. It's the fact that it's a recorded interest out there for this property that they're asking for insurance on.
Right. And it sounds like the insurance company is just willing to take your money and insure the property. And if something happens, they still got safeguards to dispute the claim or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, the same thing with title insurance. Well, I say it all the time. You buy it in your name, and now you want to flip it with a quick claim deed over to your LLC. You're opening yourself up to be denied for a claim if something happens, because they're not going to just pay out, whether it's homeowners insurance or commercial insurance and or title insurance. We're not in it just to willy-nilly insure and be ready to just pay out. We're going to find ways where we don't have to pay this claim, and then with that being said, we do 100 policies a year and everyone's paying actively and only 2 claims. I mean, that's how we make our money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Minya, I'm very happy that you took the time to
thank you for coming on
to jump on with us. I know I said an hour, but Black folks, an hour means 2 hours. I say give me 15 minutes. I'm gonna be there in 35. I mean, you already knew I meant 2 when I said an hour.
Hey, no, thank y'all for inviting me on What Up Though Fridays. What up though?
Yeah.
We got
about 10 minutes. We got any questions before
No, I want to say something. So y'all know since that BMF series that came out, everybody be tagging me in the clips. Maybe like what my friend say, I heard credit out of Houston. She like, why I only thought you said that? I was like, no, that's like hello.
Yeah.
That's Detroit.
That's good
hello.
morning, like good afternoon, good evening. Oh, what up though answers all of that.
Hey, everybody that watched that, they be like, they had that. I think they showed like a scene had like a swimmermobile in it, and they was like, y'all had that. What was that? And y'all was swimming in a shipping container. Like, no, the swimmermobile.
Look, I remember those days.
Yeah, right. I just love how that mother opened up and they was jitting. I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. This is so Detroit. He eating a bag of Red Hot, drinking a Faygo. I'm like, this is great. This is everyday Detroit. Like this, I really like how they showed Detroit. Like it really felt like I'm in that era again. Like they did a really good job.
Yeah, and they did some of that footing was shot literally right there in 48217.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, yeah. One of my boys had the security contract, and they was right in Southwest.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's dope.
I like it though. I watched that mother faithfully. Like this taking me back.
Are you eating your hots, your butter maids?
Right, and I have my hot chips and some in a furnace.
That's funny.
All right, y'all. Well, we got about 8 minutes to wrap this up.
All right, let me check the gram for questions. Oh, this is a good one. I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna let you answer it, Red. You ready?
Yeah.
Is $75,000 enough to purchase and rehab a land bank house? Hell no. All right, you go ahead, Red.
75,000.
So
purchase and rehab.
It really depends on who you hiring to do the rehab and what size the home is. You might can get away with getting the house livable, but if you're trying to fix and flip, probably not, because the quality is not going. it depends on what the end result you're looking for, right? And the quality of the product you want to put back out there. But yeah,
And
it's
what you bought it for though, because if you bought it for 50, that leaves 25. If you bought it for, I
if
say
you bought it
anything
for
under
10,
30,000, you doing a full good these days.
yeah, you gonna spend 65 to upwards to 100 on anything, right? I mean, complete all in. It's hard to get anything under 65 all in acquisition and renovation as well.
Yeah. I try
Unless
to
you,
tell people you will be around maybe 50 to 85 now, but that's
yeah,
buying something at 30-ish to where somebody was living there and now you just doing a minor cosmetic. Now, if it's been
yeah,
vacant, you can hang that up.
especially if it was vacant for a long period of time, like past 3 or 4 years, because you got so many other issues that you can't even see because none of the utilities are on, and you got
Mhm.
all type of stuff going on. But I tell people, because I get so many damn calls about the land bank properties, the money is in finding the private owners, somebody that had a rental property they want to get rid of, or it was their grandma property or something like that, that you can find for maybe like 10 or 15,000. And now you're not going in necessarily having to do a gut job. Maybe the kitchen just outdated, right? And the furnace is on its last leg. You come out better doing that, spending a little bit more for the property and doing a little bit less on the renovation side, unless it's like one of those big, multi-family homes or one of the older historic homes. But yeah, people just caught up on these $1,000 houses, and I'm like, you can't get them insured. You're gonna spend 50,000, but the house only worth 60. It becomes an issue, but it's
And then if you,
possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just not likely.
yeah. Well, at least he was polite with his hell no. Damn, you was just like hell no.
I mean, no. So, like the land bank house I was telling y'all about, now that we got to figure out about the rights part, like I take on something like that. And so when I sent it out to my buyers list, I got a lot of offers and stuff. And I put in the email, I was like, look, the rehab gonna be about 200,000. Just let y'all know right there, because it's a
Yeah.
massive flat. It got foundation issues. It's all bad. You're looking at two. I'm gonna say really 230. So now you got 30,000 extra to play with for any contingency that I know gonna come up. But if you hire me, your land bank property gonna go through smooth as pie. If you don't hire me, I'm not coming to fix it when the other person mess up. Cause that's what just happened to this lady who followed me on Instagram. She paid somebody 100 grand to do her land bank house over there in Jefferson Chalmers. I
Yeah.
go look at it, I'm like, where the 100 grand at?
Damn.
It's a science to flipping and renovating property. So just renovating them, period, from hiring a contractor, knowing exactly what you want to do, your exit strategy, what type of product you want to put out there. I mean, you could do your kitchen and bathroom with the wrong drywall if you want. You know what I'm saying? So like it's really a science that has to be studied. But when you're buying these $1,000, $5,000 homes, now you got to consider like what is the house worth fixed up, and people will give you a $15,000 bid all day, but you still gonna end up paying 50 or 60 because you gotta gut everything they did and then go back and pay
Yep.
somebody else to
And
do
that's
it
what she
all over.
gonna have to do. So the house got flagged by the city. So they had an HVAC final. That page inspection was 4 pages long of wrong stuff. I was like, whoever called your final in knew that this was gonna fail. So the inspector pissed off that you even waste their time to come out here for this BS. So now that that failed, that flagged the whole house. Come to find out, they ain't pulling no plumbing permit, they ain't pulling no building permit, and they ain't pulling no electrical permit. But this is a land bank house. So I'm like, you all screwed. I was like, I don't even want to touch this house because the 100 you just spent, going to add another two to it. Because now I got to take all this new drywall they just put in back out. Because now the inspector gonna be like, I can't see the duct work, the new duct work they put in. How I know it's the right size? Did they even insulate the walls? Because that didn't get checked. Did they check any framing and structure? Did that get checked? The only way they're gonna be able to check it is if you got pictures. But now that HVAC inspection done flagged the house, they gonna be pissed. So they gonna make you come in here either gut certain walls or damn near the whole house.
Because
That's
they
the house
want to
I
see.
posted. Right, that's the house I posted where the contractor took the front and the back porch off.
at the same time.
I guess, but it was gone, man. I never laughed so hard. I know
So,
she was getting mad at
so
me.
meaning, I guess you're
Yeah.
not gonna insure that house. You won't touch that one, huh?
Oh no, not
Nah, bro.
no.
But you got 5 carriers. You can't find one
Nah,
of them.
bro.
Mm-mm.
So I told her,
Diamond
this is
State
what I
will
told her
probably
to
be the
do.
closest, but the minute I send the pictures with the porch is gone, they out.
And then they didn't even replace the joist. So whatever they was gonna do, they was just gonna put the porch back. So they took the porch off. The whole front of the porch and the back is on the lean. So they need to take the joist down, jack the house up, and redo all of that. The whole upstairs is got a gangster lean, and the bedroom flow like this. I go outside and walk the house. I'm like, this why your house leaning, because it's a big crack in the front of the foundation under the house.
Is that
Like
the 2-family? Is that 2-family in Jefferson Chalmers? Is it on Navajo?
No, it's not a 2-family. It's a single family. It's just a big single family.
She be dropping street names like everybody.
Yeah,
Y'all
she be
where
like,
Navajo
that's
at.
what I'm saying. That's Spooky House.
I know where Navajo at. Navajo got a lot of brick flats over there.
Yeah.
And they in bad shape. But hold on, we got a couple quick questions. But do the ARV match the full rehab when you over 150,000? No. It depends on where you at.
Yeah. It all depends on the area. I mean, you should know the ARV before you buy the property, right? You work backwards. You know the ARV, you look at your acquisition costs and you go get your bids. If you got 2 bids that's going to take you and you're going to be negative in the property, don't do it. Now, if it's a property that you're going to buy to live in and it's an area that's appreciating in value, the ARV is not as important as if you're buying it to flip or even for a rental property. It's a different strategy altogether. But yeah, that's you got to look at the ARV first, and that's by looking at the comparable sales and everything in the area.
But if the ARV not there yet, I tell a lot of my clients like it's coming. Like the flat that I'm trying to get on Dexter, that area is getting gentrified. It's others riding up and down the street right now. This Dexter and Joy Road, so that's like the end of or beginning of Dexter, Linwood, Davidson.
Right.
So the gentrification wave is coming. So yeah, you're gonna put 230 in that house, but in 4-5 years, that must gonna be worth $500,000.
Yeah, because
it's so big.
It's spread from Boston Edison to Russell Woods, then you go north, and then it go through Highland Park. So you gotta be ahead of the race if you're gonna have a project like that, right? So you investing more money into it than what it's worth now, and it'll catch up later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you can't afford, I tell people this all the time. If you're buying a property and you're speculating on what the values might be, you probably can't afford to buy the property and hold it. A lot of people can afford to buy it, but they can't afford to hold it.
Yep.
And I tell people this all the time. We're not stupid in Detroit. There's a reason why we're not buying up all of these cheap properties, because some of us know we can buy them, but we can't hold them long enough. That's why you see some of the properties going back on the tax sale. So people are taking a chance, or they're making a smart investment to say, okay, I can buy this property for this. I can't fix it all at once, but I can do something every month or every 2 months. And then eventually I'll have a property that I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the one I bought, Big Red, like I bought that May of 2017 for $2,500. But by the end of that year, somebody offered me $75,000. I hadn't did nothing to it. And I was like, I'm never selling this. Because that's when, and then the next year, they announced the Chrysler Jeep plant coming. But I knew what was coming because I was paying attention. Bike lanes was coming, tearing down all these houses. Not 42140, the hottest zip code on the east side, over off Jefferson, next to Jefferson Chalmers. So I know when I'm doing my rehab, I'll probably be able to get $650 for that building. Easy.
Yeah.
We just got to be able to hold on to it. But I'm not ever selling that. That's going to my nephew.
Right.
Yep. Hold on. Do we got any more questions? I checked that, Graham. Somebody wants to know some zip codes. That's a consultation. But if you've been listening the whole 2 hours, we've been giving them out. Like when she talking about insurance, she was giving out zip codes. Me and Reg was giving them out.
Yeah. It's enough information online. If you pay attention, so like a lot of out of towners, they'll come into town and they say, I want an emergent area, but it's like you got to connect with people here that know what's going on and where areas are going to. I tried to sell people in certain areas and they couldn't see it right now But then 2 years later, they like, oh, you was right. I'm like, I know I was.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it when you didn't. I just had to
Exactly.
offer it to you
You
first.
weren't hearing me. You weren't hearing me, and you weren't seeing me. So
Right.
I'm gonna end with this. So across the street from Big Orange, unfortunately, this lady, she was evicting her tenant. We like, why are so many police over here? So we sitting on the porch being nosy because I got a stoop on Big Orange like the old ones on the hood. So I'm sitting there like, So she comes, she like, hey, what's those things on the house? I was like, oh, those are called dogs. So I gave her my contact information and stuff. She was like, girl, the tenant done tore my house up, all this stuff in that bit. I'm like feeling bad, but then I want to be like, so do you want to sell? But like, I don't know if this is the right time to say this because
that's time.
and the police there. So I'm like, it's okay. So I did give her my number. I'm like, well, call me, got any questions? So I said, when I go back, I'm gonna put a note on the door with my number and stuff. Since they left your house a mess and you don't know what to do, because on my street it's big brick houses. They look like flats from outside, but they single family. So I'm showing them like, you want to sell?
That's the best time to ask a question. I knew a realtor. He was friends with a fireman, and he used to have his fireman friend call him every time it was a fire, and he was contacting the owner.
Like, that's a plug.
Yeah, that's a plug right there.
As is.
That's a plug. They want to know, can she got the original contract? And that's the case with the lady. So I think the contractor moved out of state, but yeah, she can go after them. Like, she could sue a lot of people. She could sue the subs. If she got their information, she can sue them. And then if she got a good enough attorney, whatever gonna stick, that's who's gonna pay. But that HVAC guy, they knew they didn't know what they was doing. And she was like, well, I got green stickers. So I was like, well, send them to me. So when she sent it to me, I'm like, them don't look like the green stickers I got. They the right green stickers, but inspectors write certain stuff on there to know that it came from them. Right. Yeah, one of them was right, looked right. The rest didn't. I was like, you need to call the building department today, because if you call for a final, they gonna cuss you out.
Oh wow!
And I was like, you need to pay them whatever their fee is to come out here to walk this property and give you a property assessment or whatever it's called. I think it's like $150 or it used to be, and so they can write up all the violations, because you're gonna need that for court, and then have me or whoever come and fix those violations. But have them come before I bid it or anybody. So I need to reach back out to her, because that's been like 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
I was like, dang, bro. I felt bad, but I kind of didn't, because you've been following me for years on the gram and you didn't call me. So,
hey, you know what I do. You know what I'm capable of. All right. Well, we 9:08, 9:05.
Yep, I got to get back to my homecoming festivities.
All right.
All right, you guys, it's been real. As always, we appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Thank you, Reg.
Thank you, Reggie, Emma, for always, and Marcus for his short appearance, and shout out to me for all that awesome information.
Yes.
When I get her contact information, y'all, I'll put it in the comments. So.
All right. So I'll see you Sunday, Reg, and I'll see you when you get back, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all as always.
All right. Have a
good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.